Welcome to Champs Chats on the CITIUS MAG podcast. I'm Chris Chavez, joined by the whole CITIUS MAG gang: Kyle Merber, Dana Giordano, Jasmine Todd, Caitlin Hutchison, and special guest tonight, Wallace Spearman. Wallace, thanks for joining us. What you can you explain, I guess, for the listeners, what your role is now with Team USA, and I mean, best ever showing by a team ever. So whatever it is,
intern.
Yeah. Our intern for the night.
Hey, so first and foremost, man, I've been trying to get on here for a long time, so thanks for having me.
Of course.
We've been waiting. We know you're a busy man.
Man, I don't know about that. So I just took a job with the national office May 2nd. I am March 2nd. Sorry. The Associate Director of Athlete Services. Okay. So I have a lot to learn, and anything athlete will go through me eventually.
And now one more person with a world championship medal on the panel, right?
Yeah.
Let's do it. I got a few of them.
Cool. Yeah. It's pretty cool. Pretty stacked squad. So let's get right into the action from tonight, and we'll start with the relays, which is how we close out the meet.
What a way to finish a meet.
Yeah. All right. It's your favorite way to close out.
Well, I just think 4x4s is the perfect event because the U.S. is just always going to win.
Yeah. I don't think I was never in doubt in either one of these two races.
Yeah. Well, especially on home soil, I feel like every meet, like wherever it is, they should finish with that event. So like if we're in a different country, like let them get their best medal odd as the final event.
Oh, because it sends off the home crowd.
Yeah,
really
it sends
happy.
So with us, the 4x4, it seemed appropriate. The women's 4x4, we're talking off air. That world record is 3:15 from how many years ago and from who?
The record is
3:15
from by the Soviet Union back in Seoul in 1988. So everyone kind of was out there. The
American lawyers allowing us to say.
You sleep.
Yeah. The U.S. has run 3:15.51 also in Seoul in 88. But most recently, last year, the women who competed in Tokyo in the final ran 3:16.85, and tonight we had a pretty similar showing, with the women winning in 3:17.79, nearly 3 full seconds over Jamaica, anchored by Sydney McLaughlin with a 47.91.
Yeah.
Fastest ever? I heard the fastest ever 400 split. Allison Felix previously, I think, was 48.0.
Okay.
Oh.
47 in
Allison did?
07.
Okay, we got to see who has the fastest.
Yeah, we'll have to take that up.
47 is, by herself, too. That's the crazy thing.
She looked like she had more. On that backstretch, too, I feel like she opened up the last 200. And you know what? We're just witnessing kind of the start of something with Sydney. And I think coming into this, we knew she was something special. So it's really going to be wins that open 400 record going down.
Well, now it's like she's got the 400 hurdles record. We're seeing 47 splits. Next year, maybe we see some 400 records chased. But, this team was just very, very good and stacked. And Talitha got us started off, and it was like, the show must go on. Like, you got to run the rest of the legs there. But, like, it was a foregone conclusion. Caitlin, what did you think? Like, you felt pretty comfortable in your seat watching?
Oh, yeah. I already knew that we were winning. Like, okay, I was a little scared when Abby got the baton because I think it was even between us and it might have been Jamaica that was next up. I don't remember the team. Yeah, it was pretty even on that handoff. And then I think Abby was still pretty close to the rest of the pack around the last 200, and then she does what Abby does, and then she opened it up. And then from there, Britton Wilson just she made it awesome for everyone. And as we all know, Sydney really took it home and ran that 47 on her own. And then with the guys, the race was for second and third. I'm sorry. Like, at that point, it was really just USA trying to race themselves.
Well, so what's that confidence level like in Team USA hanging out going into this 4x4? You're in those rooms.
Man, the story for these 4x4s starts literally like some days and/or weeks ago. You have to think about it. So for the men's side, Fred Curley was rumored to run on the 4x1 and the 4x4. He got injured, so he's out. Ryan Benjamin, injured. Those are your two biggest stars that you can name on your 4x4. So what's the confidence like? Hey, this is just a testament that USA is really deep. So I'm really proud of them for going out there and doing their thing. But say, from the first leg, Elijah, he had an opportunity to run the open 4. He turned it down so he could get 2 medals in the relays. Like that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And you have, I mean, just from start to finish, Bryce Dedman and the rest of the guys when they went out there, they ran with a lot of heart and a lot of passion. And to get a gold medal on your home soil, that's a big deal. Even on the women's side, we had four ladies actually leave. So people were supposed to run in the open, and we didn't have anyone who actually made the finals of the 400, and we go out and get a gold medal. So, and little side story, Aaliyah was supposed to warm up, or she was running. So Abby was warming up in the back, and last minute, Aaliyah walks up to the coach and tells her, I'm injured. Really? Abby was walking out,
Wow.
so they had to go run and grab her. She did like 2 strides to kind of re-warm up and went out and run 49. Like, she's a soldier. And you got to think, the first 3 legs they're collegiate athletes. Their
Yeah.
legs are supposed to
Wow.
be dead.
Yep.
And they still ran that fast. It's really impressive.
So I saw a tweet that was floating around yesterday that it was like, imagine being the relay coach who had to give Allison Felix the call and say, hey, we need you out here. Who does that? Whose job is that, and how does that go over?
The women's relay coach is Michelle Freeman Lewis.
Okay.
And she had been an assistant for many years. She worked with some junior athletes. She has a few junior world records on 4x1s and 4x4s working with those teams. Last year was her first time taking over somewhat at Tokyo. She did about as good as she could. And then the women's 4x1, when you come out and watch, maybe you all know more than the rest of the world, but I don't think anybody pegged the U.S. to actually win that.
Yeah.
So
Besides Caitlin. Except Caitlin.
Can you explain a little bit more about, some of our open 400 meter runners leaving? Is that something that typically happens, or they just decide to leave? Like, what goes down inside the Team USA camp?
No, well, one actually had to go back to school. So she's in, I'm about to say, I don't even want to sit here and tell a lie. I don't know if she's in summer school or grad school or what, but she chose her education. And I mean, from the time you're in college, elementary, doesn't matter. Education first, so no one can really get mad about that. You had some others that were banged up and some others that just had some family problems. So none of them were really planned or expected, but at the end of the day, the women still got the job done.
How many athletes are just, everyone's hanging out. There's a huge pool of Americans that are capable of being on 4x1s or 4x4s. How many are just saying, like, trying to lobby for themselves and say, I want in, I
All
want
of
in,
them.
I want in?
This is the 4x4. You just said it. It's a gold medal. Like, literally from so I'm sure you all saw Grant Holloway, and he wanted to run. Arian Knighton ran on a team that ran 257. So Devin Allen has made, even Ryan Krauser jokingly. So I mean, like,
Tuned
Doing
in?
day 2.
exactly. So I mean, the guy, it's playful banter, but I think I could have ran ankle leg today. And
I saw Michael Johnson post a video of him on Priest Trail going for a run. I was like, he might get the call too.
Is it politics, or is it just straight, like, who's run well this season and this championship?
I mean, like, imagine going to an NBA All-Star game and saying, pick me the best starting 5. Depends on who you are that day. So are there politics between the athletes and the relay coach? You don't really see it. It's honestly created like outside of that group. You don't see the athletes in there arguing and bickering. Of course, when someone doesn't get to run, they're upset. But for the most part, I mean, I won't say everything is clear cut because once again, that's subjective. But it's not as messed up as you think. And this year they actually had relay camp where last year they didn't. So they got to iron out a lot of the kinks. So when things are going well, things go smooth.
So you've been on the inside of what, like 20 U.S. teams at this point now? Like, when was the first team you ever made?
Like a junior team, and then like senior team was 05.
Okay, so a very long time now you've been on the inside.
Sure.
Once the championship starts and Team USA is doing well, is the confidence just buzzing and it's like, we're on one, and everyone, like, this has got to be it is the most medals that anyone has ever won. When did you guys get a sense on the inside that, like, something special was happening?
Well, I had a conversation with some of the people who are a lot more engaged in the science behind the sport, and they gave me their predictions, and they told me there's no way that we get more than 25 medals.
Wow.
Okay.
Really?
Okay.
That's so oddly specific.
30, literally 30 minutes later, we're 7 up. I was like, are we Sprite or are we 7 up? I said, we're 7 up. We're going to get 7 more medals. And I was like, that's funny how quickly you changed that.
Yeah.
So these athletes, I mean, you have to think about it your whole life. The statistics have been against them. You're not going to make an Olympic team. You're not going to make So when they hear those numbers about what you can't do, I think that makes our team just thrive. And they're all young too, so good luck telling them they can't do something.
Yeah, they really rose to the occasion here on Hayward Field as well.
Absolutely.
So Hayward got a makeover. Looks amazing. Team USA comes with 33 medals. Do you think some of that is from the home soil environment that
Absolutely.
exceed the expectation? There's no vibe check calculated into this 25. They did not calculate for the crowd.
No, I mean, I'd definitely say that. People were concerned that the tickets wouldn't be sold and people wouldn't show up. I mean,
The stadium was lit tonight.
you hear me?
Yeah.
It was amazing. And then for a lot of our collegiate athletes, they didn't have to travel overseas.
Yeah.
So they didn't have to get acclimated to different climates and cultures, and they're at home. People showed up probably, I don't know, if you know the sport, people showed up later to this championship than anyone I've ever seen. Some people were showing up like 2 days before their event. You can do that when you're at home. When you go overseas, people are showing up 2 and 3 weeks early. So I think a lot of the complications that we had to face, they just became, an afterthought when we're here.
Do you think there's any lessons from this championships and the success that we had that we can carry over to, next year and the Olympics beyond? Obviously, the advantage of having at home is plenty, but were there any things that we can still take away?
Absolutely. Joking, I would say that the lesson learned from me is that they'll never let us have world championships here. But, as far as the athletes, I'd say the confidence that they had when they were here. Their families were here, so they probably had their support systems really close. That's something that I'd say here at USATF we'll look into, like about getting their coaches there and getting their family there. Athletes comfortable. Athletes are trained. They're peaked and ready to go, primed and ready to go. This is what you see.
What was the highlight for you? For you personally, this whole championships.
And that's hard to say, simply because every time I watched a race or watched a throw or a jump, I thought to myself, like, that's the greatest thing I've ever seen. And then the next day, I'm like, I changed my mind. That's the greatest thing. So,
Yep.
I watched a world record today in a semifinal of the hurdles. Who does that?
Yeah, I guess we should touch on that,
Yeah.
result.
We were still
Had a
back
lot of
here
them
at the house
today.
because we were like, oh, it's only the semifinals. Like, we'll
We
catch
were-
the
No,
finals.
that-
We missed
I
out.
went to the bathroom when
Biggest
it
mistake. Biggest mistake.
Just
I
set
was
the scene.
I was
Caitlin.
walking from the house to the track, and usually me and Jasmine are showing up like exactly on time when like the first race starts. So I'm like, oh, like, I don't have to go sit in my seat. Like I can just watch it on like the TV that's like in the like concession area or whatever. And so then I'm like watching, and I realize that I'm watching a world record. And I'm like, dude, I was like 2 seconds away from like watching that in person. I was so mad.
Okay, Caitlin, how loud were you yelling when you watched it?
I wasn't even screaming because I was like, wait, like what?
Well, you
like what just happened?
You looked equally as confused as she did, I have to say. She crossed the line,
Yeah.
looked at the time, was like, no way, and then had to kind of have this gut check of, oh, this actually isn't what I need to win today. And they had this amazing on TV. They have this follow cam underneath showing a different part of Hayward Field that you don't normally see. And they were trying to get some sound bites, and you could just see going through her head. She's like, I gotta find a quiet place to digest
What
And
just happened?
you could tell that she actually didn't believe it, but got it done in the final. The time was absurd, but the wind was in the favor.
It was
2.5.
Yeah, it was pretty windy. She ended up running a 12:06 if I'm correct.
I don't know if
What
we
was it?
said Toby's name yet.
12:06.
Yeah,
Nigeria's
Toby.
Toby
She-
Amusin.
So Toby comes in, runs at 12:06.
The world
But
record.
I also want to kind of talk about what happened leading up to that, because we didn't get to touch on it yesterday. We kind of went past it because we haven't really been touching on too much of the prelims. So Caitlin and I were sitting there watching. We watched, who was first? Nia was first.
Yeah.
Nia was running a hell of a race. And unfortunately, she ended up clipping the 8th hurdle, fell over the 9th, and she finished her race, but obviously not advancing into the semis. And then oddly, coming up next was Aaliyah for Team USA, but then also Liz Clay. Not sure what happened with Aaliyah. I think it was just kind of a weird thing.
She tweeted
Her-
about it today.
Did she?
She said she got to the first hurdle too quick, and it just kind of set her.
Just set her up, because she didn't even really make it over the first hurdle, and from there she just kind of runs through pushing the hurdles down. And Liz Clay, I think she falls somewhere between hurdle 5 and 6. So unfortunately, those are some people that we were expecting to see make it into this final today. But we did have Kenny Harrison, and we also had Aaliyah Armstrong. Unfortunately, Kenny ends up falling in the final. Aaliyah comes out. She runs a heck of a race. We have Toby, who runs this.
Yeah. She had two
This
PBs.
race was absolutely insane.
I I saw the clock and I was like, wait, what's a good 100-meter hurdle time again? Like I had
My question was, what's the world record? Like 12:20?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 12:20.
She came into the meet with a personal best of 12:41. Yesterday runs 12:40, then runs 12:12 in the semis, and everyone on Twitter
They, like,
is saying that
blasted
there's
her.
an issue with the clock, that it's not legit.
Blasted her,
The
man.
wind was wrong, and all of these excuses, and she shut everyone
Sure
up
did.
Yeah.
real quickly.
And it doesn't,
Quickly.
unlike, yes, the wind matters, 2.5 is not legal, but I think if you can run 12:12 legal and then a 12:06 a little bit illegal, you,
You got to put respect on her
right,
name.
right.
So
You
I had a
have
brief
to.
conversation with Alan Johnson, one of our hurdle greats. I was like, what just happened? And he said, honestly, the world record should be 11.
Really?
Oh.
And I couldn't tell if he was joking or not. So
Just
I mean,
after watching that.
Yeah, but what? 11?
She didn't have a great start in the final.
Some dude on Twitter was like, if she fixes her start, she's going 11-9
Yeah.
easy.
Well, we're all a
I'm
little
like,
afraid
huh?
of the blocks. You know, with the incidents that have happened, we're all a little afraid of the blocks and the hurdles. So we didn't want that to happen. There's been a lot of conversation, too, about the shoes. And Wallace, I'd love to hear your POV about the shoes in these times, though.
I would say I wish we had those shoes when I competed. That's all I'll say. Everything outside of that, like, these kids are really amazing. But, man, I wish I had those shoes.
And sort of like there's one factor of like the shoes are helping, the athletes are, training better than ever, the stadium, the surfaces, there's a lot of factors at play. But, kind of, again, going back to sort of some big picture talk, Wallace, do you feel that there's a bigger buzz about the sport, or that it's palpable? Because for the longest time, you've been in how many seasons and conversations have you had where it's like, grow the sport, fix the sport, grow the sport, fix the sport. But, now this was a big moment, and, now the job is to take this momentum and keep it going. So how are you feeling about the buzz around the sport in general?
Well, I can tell you right now, from the execs and anybody who's in positions of power, from either shoe companies, USA Track and Field, and either other federations, they're trying to continue this buzz. So next year, the Diamond League final will be here in Eugene. So we want people excited about that. And USA Track and Field is coming out with their Journey to Gold series, which we hope to get some more sponsors so we can make that bigger and actually support athletes a lot more. And I think people are excited about that as well. And just marketing, honestly. I mean, I've heard good things and bad things about what could have happened, what should have happened. At the end of the day, it's the first time we've ever had it here. And literally, even my family has been calling and saying, oh, we'll just go to the next one when it's in the U.S. And I'm like, nah, you don't get it.
Yeah.
Nah, this is a different experience. That's the thing about sports. You're not selling a ticket, you're selling an experience, and every time is going to be different. And honestly, yeah, maybe the next time is better, but I feel like with this being the first time that World Championships was held here, there's no way that you could replicate this experience.
I agree, and I got to see a lot of even my childhood heroes come here. John Carlos and Tommy
Yeah,
Smith
Uncle
got
Johnny.
announced. And then I saw Gail Devers here. Maurice Green has been here.
Yeah.
He's been
He's
here.
been at the house.
So there you go.
Twice. He might be here later.
So I,
Is he in the back
Actually, he's
gate?
at the door.
He's actually at the back gate. Look over.
So, I heard people say, I heard fans say, this is like a who's who of track and field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's the first time people had access to, Jackie Joyner-Kersey from
Saw
top
her
to
a lot.
bottom. And Jonathan Isaac, he went to Florida State. Now he plays for Orlando Magic. He and his family came, and I asked him, I said, did you get paid to come here, or are you? He's like, no, man, I wanted
Track
to come
fan.
see. You a track
Yeah.
fan? I wasn't. I am now. He's like, I'm really inspired by y'all's hard work. So I see Charles Barkley's tweeting about it,
Yeah.
and Magic Johnson, and so it's pretty cool, I think, at least.
So what's your vibe check for the stadium?
Oh, yeah, we
With
gotta
the
know.
attendance there,
We
What is
gotta
your
know.
vibe check?
What do you want? Be more specific.
1 to 10. How are you feeling the crowd in Hayward Field?
Best
it was-
crowd you've ever been to was a 10.
This was crazy. Literally, Kara Winger for her throw. It's her last throw. The crowd's going crazy.
For
She-
javelin. Have you seen that
Exactly.
before? Yeah.
Trevor Bassett in the 400 hurdles.
Yes.
Literally, it was silence. Oh, did he get it? Did he get it? And when they announced that he got third, they went nuts. to, I mean, Chris Nielsen today, whenever he jumps, and I don't know what kind of little hop or dance he was doing, but like people just loved it from start to finish. Like it was like they went through an emotional roller coaster. The 5K today, when our athlete went, he kind of got bumped. It was just, in Mondo, the world, I can go through countless times where the crowd was just really engaged. So it was awesome. It was really cool.
3 world records. What was the number on that? Was there oh my God. I can't even-
Statistics. I got you.
Statistical estimate. It's been a long week of how many world records they would be.
Yeah.
You guys talk about that in the
was
camp?
the over-under that we made up, so we hit it.
I honestly, I think people probably thought there were going to be a few more.
More.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Which events was there?
some of our throws, I would say. There was some talk. So in the women's 200, there were some rumors that it would be broken. The men's 100, there were some rumors that it would be broken.
I like how you say rumors as if there's anything we can do about it.
It's like I'm gonna break it today.
I'm just trying to be real political.
Yeah.
I'm about to say not necessarily expose people in private conversations, but I'll tell you, there definitely was a lot of talk. I saw a lot of talk about world records, so I like the confidence, though.
All right, so one of the races that I was most excited about today was the women's 800.
Yeah.
We had 3 Americans, which we've dubbed the Big 3 going in, but it was really a things race to lose in many ways, which is a tough position to be in. But when you're the Olympic champion, you run 155, you're running as well as she has, you know, I thought there was a chance she was not going to break the world record, but was going to run away with it.
Yeah.
And it ended up being way tighter of a race
Yeah.
than
You really
probably
thought she was
initially-
going to run away with it?
Yeah,
I thought so
sure
too.
did.
Absolutely,
Oh,
I did.
no.
Yeah.
Keely. You
This-
guys are
yeah.
Exactly.
Keely is a fighter.
beast.
She's right there. And I think she doesn't get the big 3 competition in her trials. You know, she's head and shoulders.
Oh, they have not
Yeah,
head and shoulders.
Jamariki,
They
Laura
do, but
Muir.
Alex
her PB
Bell.
is
Yeah.
head and
That was
shoulders
just
now.
way closer than I
155s
was
for both of 'em.
anticipating.
Yeah.
That was the first time I think I say when the thing crossed that line, it looked like she worked.
Yes.
Yeah, well, it was at the
Started
trials,
crying
and then at the
Yeah.
just a month ago, and then now, and so you know, was it you or someone in the mix zone had said like, I thought the season she had last year was the season we would have this year, and this season would have been the one we had last year.
Yeah, last year
Like
it
that,
looked
that's
like
just
it was
like a progression, but
Looked easy.
it looked easy last year, and this year it didn't look easy. But the fact that it wasn't easy, and she still was able to pull out the
Yeah.
U.S. title and the world title, I bet you there was something going on behind the scenes that she kind of hinted at a little bit in an interview, like that we don't really know everything.
right, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I mean, she had COVID earlier in the season and had to take some time off. And the ability to like step up and still win when things are not perfect, to me, that says next year, if we can get things a little bit more perfect.
There were some really big changes for her. If you go back and watch it, she went to A&M. A&M is known for racing. They race almost on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
She didn't have those races this year. That's huge for your preparation and your confidence as well, because when you get to race yourself in shape, now all of a sudden you don't have to worry about or think about what you can do. So now with limited amount of races, when she goes out here, yeah, it's gonna be it'll preserve her career, some longevity to her career, because
Yeah.
she's not racing so much. But in the meantime, when she's going through those changes, you're gonna see ups and downs.
And how hard is that coming from like an A&M or an Arkansas to then becoming a professional? You know, you're so used to having that team element and that motivation, like such a crowd of
Just gonna
athletes.
leave Oregon out of there like that?
Are you guys good? Oh yeah, you guys are good too. Yeah. So how big?
they're
I mean,
all
like,
right.
because those big, you know, Power 5 schools, the way you guys approach it, it's a little different than being a professional, because you're not about the team points anymore.
There's a lot more structure in the collegiate system than in the professional ranks. I'll give you that. When you're in college, here's what time you're supposed to be here for this. Here's where you need to be. This is what you're gonna do. We're in, we're out. Coach can get you in trouble. Like, you know what you can get away with, but there's structure. When you're a pro, man, show up when you want. If you don't want to, don't. Don't worry. Whenever you do bad in the competition, your paycheck will reflect those choices. And everyone works for you. When you're in college, you report to your coach. When you're pro, everyone works for you. So you have to control your team. Big change, big transitions. As far as the Power 5 schools, I can't speak for Oregon, but in the SEC, every time you go to a meet, it's a dogfight. I mean, there's no easy races. So when you translate that to a pro and you're going to USAs, you're familiar with the majority of the people because you've raced them on a regular basis. So I think it really prepares you. Like I said, I can't speak for Oregon, but at Arkansas.
Maybe Jasmine can speak for Oregon.
Okay, what you got?
You know what? I'm gonna just be quiet. But then we kind of had to have a little bit of fight when it came to Pac-12. So when we got into our conference, we did have to fight a little bit.
You know that scene in Good Will Hunting when they talk about the Red Sox game and he like describes everything
Been a
that's
while since I've
happening
seen it.
and he was like, "Oh, I was in the bar across the street talking to like my future wife."
Yeah.
That was me tonight in the pole vault. Because Chris sends me a text and says, "Hey, Kyle, mix zone now," which was a little demanding to use the please. So I walk down because I think there's like an emergency. Like we got 6 athletes coming through. We need another body down there. As soon as I walk out of the stadium, the crowd goes wild for Mondo. So if someone can tell me what happened,
Dude,
You know, it was
did she make you miss it?
yeah.
Chris,
And I think
you're
did you see
fired.
it?
So you missed.
You're fired.
Did you see the pole vault?
Yeah, I did.
Wait, which
Did you-
one?
Oh God, Kyle, I would quit.
Did you miss did you
Both?
miss? Wait, how many?
You
There was
missed
3
both
world
of them.
records tonight, right?
I came up with
3 tonight.
I
Prelims
missed
Three
the
in general.
semi.
or the semifinals.
Yeah.
Well, then the
Semifinals,
finals
finals,
didn't
and then
count. The finals
the
didn't
pole
count,
vault, right?
though.
So did you see any of them?
Wait, what was the third one?
The finals didn't count though.
No, the final wasn't a world record.
It was the 100 hurdles.
World's what they call
it was the
what
pole
they call
vault
it?
in Sydney.
All-time
world
world,
best.
something like that.
I saw Sydney's.
It's the only one.
So you
It's
didn't
the
see
only
the
one.
other ones?
No, what happened?
I would actually.
Let's set the scene for a
no
pole
more
vault.
podcasts. This is gonna be a setting for Chris and Kyle to fight.
Yeah.
You must be a
on camera.
baseball fan.
I assumed he was down there. That's actually kind of messed up.
No, the pole was
Just at the
actually
top, I
a
was
really,
like-
really exciting
Yes,
competition. Mondo, I think we have to, pay our respects to Levanide at first. The Frenchman, he's a vet. We don't know how much longer he's been in this competition. On his last jump, kind of had to roll through it. And I don't know the next time, this might be his last season. So I just want to shout him out real quick. We had
Respect.
Christopher Nielsen from the U.S. had, like you said, one of the coolest celebrations. He was like dancing around at 594 as well. And then from the Philippines, Ernest John
Obania.
had a area record of 594 meters.
Yeah.
But the story of the night with Mondo, and I want kind of, Wallace, you're hype on this. I want to hear your take on this.
I don't care what it is. If it's tiddlywinks to shuffleboard, like if when the world's greatest do it, it's fun to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That front flip. I
Oh
saw
my
that
gosh, was
replay.
amazing.
that was the moment of the meet. Not even the world record. It was the front flip.
Plus, I'm scared of heights, so never could do what they do. But literally, when you go watch this kid, he came out of nowhere, and you see kids all the time come into the sport, and sometimes they don't make it. But this one panned out. Between him and Sydney, those are the wonder kids. So that was awesome. Of course, I'm sorry, I'm American. I'm rooting for Chris, but like you gotta respect what you just watched tonight. That was truly amazing.
The thing that I think is so incredible. So first off, Mondo's world record was previously from indoors. So for some reason, pole vault accepts world records from either indoors or outdoors, which they're very different. And in Belgrade, apparently that runway was like the bounciest runway of all time. And the fact that he went 620 indoors to then come out, on a day in which no one else cleared 6 meters. It's not like it was like the perfect day and everyone's like he won the actual competition pretty easily. Like
Yeah.
Chris has been consistently a little higher than he had to go today for the silver. But I do want to talk about EJ Obenia from the Philippines.
Yeah, so Mondo, some may say it was the story of the night. I think EJ is the story of the night in this one. So let's go back first because a couple months ago you wrote about him in the lap count.
Yeah, so there's something that it hasn't gotten that much, wind behind it yet in this story, but it is the Philippines' first ever world championship medal, which is pretty cool. But there was an issue during the indoor season between EJ and the Philippines Federation about the handling of funds. I believe is he coached by Bubka? Or no, I forgot who he's coached by. You can look it up, Chris, because it's like the coach. And
Walker?
who is it?
Brad Walker? Oh, that's not the coach.
Yeah,
Okay,
that-
my
yeah,
bad.
yeah.
Sorry. Shout out Brad.
But he basically, there was a disagreement.
Vitaly Petrov.
Yes, and he's coached everyone. And there was a disagreement between the way he handled certain funds that were supposed to be meant for his coach, and the payments were late, and they don't know if he kept it or if he paid the coach, and the coach was like, no, I got paid, and there was just a whole disagreement.
What a sport.
And apparently the Philippines Federation head might be a little bit more corrupt than you'd want, and essentially there was a big disagreement, and he wasn't able to go indoors to World Championships because he was like basically banned by the federation. He was appealing and it wasn't cleared in time, and he was was going to be, I think the only Filipino man to go to the championships indoors, and was a medal threat, and then wasn't able to go. And luckily things were resolved shortly after the indoor season, and now he comes out here, gets the medal for his country, and sets the Asian record. So,
well, the story here is even a little bit crazier. I'm not sure how much you followed of this. So, one, he had, like a lot of people, he got stuck in immigration for a day or something on his way here. This is from Lindsay Schnell from USA Today, former colleague of mine at Sports Illustrated. She was telling me, it was like, hey, do you know his story? And I was like, oh, I know Kyle wrote something. But then she shared some more. So he's the only, like you said, the only athlete in Eugene from the Philippines. They didn't send a federation. It was just him and his coach, who's Italian. Then Doug Binder, who works for Dystat, and his wife, who's Filipina, organized a small welcome reception with the local Filipino community and held it at a church. 50 people who have never met him before showed up. Brought him a ton of gifts, made him a ton of food, and he told her that he hadn't had a homemade Filipino meal in like 3 years. So he was ranked 6th in the world coming to this, just took bronze. And then on top of that, at the dinner, after he finished eating, they took the plate that he had, they washed it off and had him sign it. So, no. So, I mean, like, it's just like stories like this. You sometimes have to look beyond just like the results.
Who needs a world record?
Yeah.
I want to shout out Jollibee. I think there's 1 or 2 in Queens. Filipino food is good.
Is it spicy?
No. It's like,
Game.
yeah.
Yeah,
But they've got some
spicy food?
crazy
Yeah,
desserts.
you with spicy food.
Absolutely.
There's a
I
really
would say
great
yes.
culture within the pole vault too. They
Yeah.
spend a lot of time together. It's the same guys in the circuit. You're seeing them kind of help each other. They even lend each other poles because their poles inevitably get breaks, stolen, and broken by the airlines. And I think, seeing them come together, obviously the story is amazing too, but Mondo being the only guy in the competition going over 6 meters, skipping from 6.06 to 6.21, not making it on his first attempt, nailing it. Right? Was it right after the 4x4?
Right after.
Yeah, immediately.
Yes.
So the energy's up
after.
right after the 4x4. Crowd goes wild. I think that might have been the loudest cheer of the whole meet. Maybe says world record, but that was kind of the perfect punch to the end of a 10-day competition.
I love how they break the world record. Like
Just a bonus after
yeah.
bonus.
Yeah.
Bonus.
Just
He's
a little
playing
bit.
smart. He's
That's
playing
funny.
smart.
so thought out. Like, that is amazing how they can do that. But I love it.
There was
He's
part of
cleared
me
by
that
a
thought
lot.
that in the 110 hurdles, what was her name that broke the world record?
Toby?
I thought she wasn't even going to show up for the final. She's like, I made my
Yeah, I got the
$100,000. She's like, I'm good.
I'm good.
But then she made another 70,000 on top of that for winning
Oh,
It's a
gold.
really
Jeez.
good day at the
Jeez.
office for
Yeah.
her agent. Jasmine, what about that women's long jump?
Oh, my goodness. Okay. let me pull up my results for
Okay.
you real
You
quick.
got some things to say.
Do you have things to say?
You know what? I'm just happy that there was 7 meters. Okay, I'm always happy with the long jump when there's a 7 meters. Not only did we get 1, we got 2. Mahambo, she won it with the 7:12. She was struggling a little bit, scratched her first 2 jumps, make it into the actual finals, because when you come back for the field events, you have your prelims, you come back the second day, you have 3 jumps, and then they take the top 8. Continue and get another 3 jumps. So her first 2 of those 6, she scratched. She jumps a 698 to clutch it. Then she comes back again, jumps a 709. She ends her last jump with a 712, which the world lead right now is a 713, so she just missed it, which was absolutely incredible to watch. So I was very happy watching that, although I was very, very tired. So I was fighting sleep while being very excited to watch this.
Jasmine was knocked out in the stadium.
S.A. Broom, she came out here, jumped She jumped to 7:02. So proud of her. So glad to see how much she's been working. She opened up with a 6:61, so she secured her spot, moving on. Not much to say after that. Third place, Leticia, the Brazilian. I'm not going to lie, I was shocked because I think this is the first time in a while that I've seen a Brazilian take home a medal in the women's long jump. But she has had a remarkable year.
First time ever.
First time ever. So, yeah, I was like, whoa, a Brazilian, this is like insane. But she's had a remarkable year. Out in Brazil, we jumped against each other, and I was just like, where did this girl come from? Who is she? Like, no. I was really upset jumping against her because I didn't know where she came from. And then our American, Quenisha Burks, she comes fourth. She was battling it out. Unfortunately, she missed that podium. She jumped to 6:88.
She's a friend of the pod, and
Yeah.
and she's someone who, you know, is going to be on the stage for a really long time. I think has proven herself to
She's
be
got a bright
leveling up.
future.
But that competition today led from the front, kind of was the next level. And I
Yeah.
think,
Yeah.
is there anything to be said about, you know, the new system of, you know, that was kind of a story of previously of, you know, the technical system of, you know, fouling, things like that, kind of a non-factor today?
I don't think it was too much of a factor. It was just a lot of fouls, and most of them were legitimate big fouls when it came to the long jump today. So it wasn't too much of the small toe rolling
Thank
over.
goodness.
Yeah.
I talked to Q right after she came through the mix zone. Well, I mean, for a lot of it, she was crying, and she and I have some history with like the story that I wrote on her for Sports Illustrated, and we've done podcast episodes before. So she finally gets to me, collects herself, and then, you know, just weeks ago when I had her on my podcast, she was manifesting, really. Like, she's all about verbal manifestation. She's like, last year, you know, recording videos of herself saying, I'm going to be an Olympian, I'm going to be an Olympian, which, like, scary for some people to, like, you know, be that bold. But she made that happen. And this time around, the whole thing was like, I've been on enough, you know, teams that now I want to come home with a medal. And so to be .01 short of it, like, it obviously stings and hurts, but, you know, she said she's already going to start, like, looking forward to what is ahead the rest of the season, because she's been, you know, racking up the Diamond League invites. And so, you know, hopefully she can get some sort of redemption with the Diamond League final and down the road the rest of the summer. So not the last time you'll see Q at the world stage.
That 5K.
Ooh.
It was hot to run a 5K.
I got a new favorite athlete from that 5K.
Really?
Yeah,
Oscar Celimo?
Stefan was your favorite athlete from yesterday.
Well, now I have a new guy athlete.
Okay.
I love Inga Britson. He's great. Oh my God. Like, he just runs and he's just like,
Did you know
you lost.
Caitlin, he has a reality TV show.
Can I watch it?
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
You're
It's on.
allowed.
Are you
YouTube.
serious?
Yeah.
Serious.
No, because he's actually like so cool.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know nothing about the guy. He just looks like a 12-year-old with tattoos.
No, he crushed it, and it was like, once he went to the front, the Kenyans challenged him for like a short amount of time, but then no one really let up.
He was drinking water
Yeah,
in the
toying
middle.
with the field.
Yeah.
Did you see that though?
Yeah.
I've ne-
5K?
I didn't
Who
see
does
it
that?
happen, but I was sitting next
Well,
to
no,
a
he
couple
missed the
people, and
first
they're like,
time, and
what,
then-
what
No, he
happened
didn't
over
miss
there?
anything.
Really?
He didn't mess up. Okay. In a distance race, if someone holds the cup or they're handing you the cup, where are they supposed to hold it? Because there's technique to that, is there not?
Like,
The bottom of the cup.
At the bottom of the cup. So
That
the
way you can
officials
come
are
in
holding at the
swoop.
top of the cup. Yeah, so you're supposed to hold it.
First
at
of
the
all,
bottom.
unsanitary.
Yeah.
Come
I've
on.
never taken a cup in a race before.
Okay,
but-
my bad. Neither have I, but it's my job to learn what the athletes
Okay,
need,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm learning. Dang it, I'm learning. So literally, the official holds it from the top. So the proper technique. So I've learned today: hold the cup at the bottom, and you hold it in the direction that they're going. So when they grab it, you give them extra
like a
support.
hockey puck.
How
you accept
fat
it.
is the manual book that you have to read?
Yeah.
The cup position.
You kind of have to make it. I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah.
joking. It's you literally from pole vault to pole vault. Quick note: United is stopping. They're going to stop carrying poles August 5th. Would have never had a reason to know
What?
that before. Now I know, so we have to figure something out.
Do you think it's like a frequent problem from United? I think it's
Interesting.
pole. You know, how many people are traveling with pole vault?
I just started, so I don't really know. I never really had to.
It's okay. Team USA is Delta anyways, so.
Yeah, hopefully that still works out. I still don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
We're gonna figure it out. I'm new. Give me a minute. Give me a minute.
the cups thing was wild.
But
And,
the
like,
second thing though, he just set it on the table. So the next time when he came by and he actually got the cup, they were like, "Forget it." They just put it on the table. So the athletes like ran by again and got it.
Well,
What is
That's
going
better.
on?
I thought for some reason, like, because he likes to play games with his opponents, and he mentioned something when he passed by in the mix zone that he thought that the volunteer was going to come and like hand it closer to him.
Yeah, 'cause he was
so,
doing- yeah, you're
so
right.
I was wondering that he was going to try and get the volunteer to get in people's way.
Oh, use a
And it's,
pick.
yeah,
They need like a Hunger Games thing where it floats down from the sky.
yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, water in a 5K though, never seen that.
It was hot though.
it was hot.
It
Well,
was
I
hot.
see water in a 10K makes sense. I've never seen water in a 5K.
I got nothing.
Got nothing for that.
I mean,
we'll figure that one
Wallace
out.
is still learning.
But the race went out really fast. At one point, we're like, "Oh my gosh, how fast is it gonna go?" And then they just slowed down, and everyone basically became back in it. And we're like, "Why are you guys doing that? Jakob's in the field. Don't let it slow down." And they really did. And honestly, it's the 5K specialist's fault that Jakob won.
54-second final lap, I believe.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
But like looking around, waving to Caitlin, saying
Well,
what's
and
up.
Ericus actually has a very long time
Yeah.
girlfriend
His
or wife.
fiance.
I mean,
I
that-
don't wait. No, I don't like him. I just think he's super cool.
To be very clear.
Sounds good.
You
Yeah.
know what?
saved it.
Goodbye.
So,
Goodbye.
so if he asked you on a date, you would say no.
I'm saying he looks like a 12-year-old with tattoos.
Oh, so you don't like that?
No.
He's like
Oh, okay, my bad.
6'2".
Yeah.
I know somebody that's
Grant looks
6'3".
more like a child than
There's
he
12
does.
with tattoos.
Yeah.
No.
Jacob
Well, he do got
Kropp takes
tattoos.
silver.
Yeah,
Canyon.
yeah. Ran 12:46 earlier in the season in Rome. Came out silver. Relatively unheralded before, but even more so is Oscar Celimo. Oscar
Yeah.
Celimo. I
Uganda.
guess he was third in the World Cross, and that's probably the thing he's best known for. His personal best was only 13:06. I don't think he even made the final last year in the Olympics.
But it's
If-
Chep's a guy from Uganda. It's not him.
Well,
That's-
there's also Jacob Kiplimo.
You know-
Uganda's been on the rise.
Yeah, you would think Cheptegei was the one who was going to be a medalist, but meanwhile, it's Oscar Celimo, and he came in, swooped in, but there was a little bit of chaos that last 100. Our
Yeah.
boy Grant got mixed up.
Grant was in medal position
I thought
going
he
into
was
the
in
last
third,
200.
and then he just disappeared.
He
No,
got
it looked like he
played.
got tripped up a little bit. I don't know if it was
Yeah.
either the rail or might, if you look closely, could have been his own teammate from Bowerman.
It was
People on
messy.
Twitter were saying was Kropp coming in and kind of impeding him around the turn, didn't take the full stride around the last straightaway, but he really was in third, shifted back into sixth, a huge stumble, but Twitter is up in arms. It depends what team you're on at that point, but either it just sucks for Grant Fisher. He looked
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
I got to
He
talk
looked
to him
really
though
good.
after the race. He and Athingamu were walking towards where the team was walking on the track.
Yeah.
I said, "Man, how you doing?" Like, "Actually, I'm okay." So like he had a really positive attitude, and you love to see that. For me, the ones that handle it well typically go home and work their butts off and come back the next year stronger. So, I mean, he had
That's
a
scary
really
with
positive
Grant.
attitude, and I asked him, I said, "Hey, so what happened? Did you hit the rail?" He said, "No, I just got tripped up a little bit, and then it probably was too soon." But I said, "Have you ever ran 4x4s?" He was like,
well, he told us he would split
49. He thinks he's
49?
good for 49.
he said I don't have enough foot speed, so that actually I'm
Yeah.
glad that okay.
He's too
Yeah.
slow for a women's team.
would have made it a challenge for the
But,
men.
funny for that.
I wanted to tell him like outside, bro, outside, but way too soon. I
That's
didn't
why
go
you're
that
here.
far.
Yeah.
The baby is learning because he
Yeah.
also looks like a 12-year-old, but minus the tattoos.
Caitlin just taking shots now in the last
Now,
day.
Chris, there's a lot of people excited about our fourth place finish.
Yeah, and admittedly, I was very excited too. Luis Grijalva from Guatemala, representing not only just his country and the Flagstaff community and NAU, but also like the Dreamers, the DACA recipients here in the United States, because he was a big story leading into the Tokyo Olympics because he literally got there at the last minute because he needed a special visa and permission to leave the country, or else it was self-deportation, and he would have never been able to get back. And now this year, he's also had to get some special permission to compete at some Diamond Leagues. He's about a year and a half into his professional career, and today we kind of really saw for the first time, I guess, like the big fruits of what that professional career's potential could be, because he was not afraid, got right up there in the lead pack, right from the gun, and hung on. But the best moment was like he got emotional talking to me in the semifinals, because I brought up the fact that him and his roommate, former NAU teammate, training partner, Abihamid Nur, made the final, and he got emotional because they're brothers, and they say they're brothers, and they've got this close bond. They've been through so much together, and then today they get to line up at the World Championship final together. They kind of like embraced and then raised both their hands together at the starting line, and then fourth in the world to come in like a season's best, so close to his personal best. Afterwards, Abdi Hamid, who ends up finishing 11th, was all smiles because he's like, I can't believe it that Luis not only made the final but also finished fourth in the world. Luis said to us afterwards that he'd only really been working out for the last like 3 weeks. He's had a couple setbacks of injuries, and now this is a big indicator, and of course now it's going to open the door for more diamond leagues in the season ahead. He thought he was going to shut it down, but now he's got to get back to work to get that special permission for him to be able to compete against the world's best again. So an amazing story. I hope it gets out there more. And he was so excited in the mixer that he was like running to get through the media because he just wanted to say thank you and embrace his coach Mike Smith. And so, the training group is in. They're in for some special things, I think.
Yeah, I saw Rachel Schneider after, who's really part of that family as well, and the smile that pasted on her face after seeing Abdi Nur make the team, and of course Luis. It's like they're really a family in Flagstaff, and it's just been an incredible experience. I think our guest Wallace actually has to head out, so I really want to get your final takeaways from this meet and what you're looking forward to for Budapest.
Honestly, this team is so young. I think a lot of these athletes are still developing. I think we're only scratching the surface of the potential of a lot of our athletes. And usually when the bar is raised at the professional level, the collegiates aren't too far behind. So I think we have reintroduced ourselves to the world, or at least in the U.S., and we've let people know this is actually a sport. It's not boring to watch. What are y'all doing anyway? I'm going to say we might need to add some gambling and other things, but...
Yeah.
As far as on the track focus, I do have one question I want to ask though, and it was about the rankings. I might get in trouble, but
I'm in.
So,
I hate the rankings. Let's
no,
go.
this is different than that though.
Okay.
But I'm right with you though. I'm right with you though. So coming here, I thought it was kind of weird where you saw they had people as world rank. Yeah. Although I think that's important. Do you think it's confusing?
Oh my God, it was confusing.
Very,
When Cindy
yes.
McLaughlin comes up on the screen, world ranking number 2.
That doesn't make
Yeah.
a lick of sense.
Yeah.
So do you feel like they should see the athletes once they get here so people can kind of follow more, or do you think they should stick to the NCAA tournament? You
have something that you want to say?
Very excited,
All right,
David Melly
take-
off screen.
Take it, David.
Agreeing with Wallace, I believe.
Sorry,
don't
this
have-
is me hopping in off screen to just say.
I like it.
We had so Kyle in the lap count published literally a text conversation that me and him and Mac had, where basically we talked about how the world ranking system absolutely screws over NCAA athletes specifically because so many of those athletes are underranked based on where they compete in the NCAA. And there are reasons for that. There's different testing standards. There's all sorts of different stuff.
The rules
but
are
it's just crazy when you have Joe Fambale coming into the 200 final, I think he was ranked like 12, and you're like, this is not the 12th best 200 runner in the world.
Yeah.
He's just not, and
I
it's
think it was
confusing
number
for
2,
the
someone
fans.
in the comments of the chat just said.
So
Yeah.
and it's it's one thing. It's like someone like a Thing or Sydney, like that's more about how often they race, I think. But it's another thing where the NCAA athletes they've raced all year. We know exactly what Abby Steiner is capable of, but because the way that the meets that they compete at are weighted, they're pushed so far down in the rankings. It makes a mockery of the rankings because they're just not reliable. I'll hop back out until Wallace
Thank you
leaves.
so much, correspondent David Melly, for that.
What do you think?
I'll say for our collegiates, and I just now found out I'm learning this at a very quick rate, but their competition rules are different than World Athletics rules. So that's one reason I think that they realize that they kind of have to give them some leeway or some grace in that situation. But we definitely got to do some more fine tuning on that. I would agree. But just coming in, I don't know what I would expect. Just maybe something where they like revamped maybe some rankings for the people coming in, or predictions or projections, or
It's context
odds,
at the
or-
end of the day. You
For
know,
sure.
if you're coming
Yeah.
in and you see that Keely Hodgkinson is number 1 and a Thing is number 2, you're like, of course, Keely won the gold medal. And you're like, no, it's not how that happened. And if we're really putting our championship meets, the Olympics, and we're having, Kyle, you probably know this. How many years are there going to be championship meets? Every year until like 2028? Yeah. It's like we just have to, when someone tunes into NBC, they've never seen us before, there needs to be 2 minutes of context, a page where you can go, where you can really learn very quickly about setting the scene.
I want to be cognizant of your time.
Everybody
We okay?
Yeah, I'll make it. I'll be all right. If I'm fired tonight, then hopefully I got a new job.
It's okay.
I'm just joking.
You're definitely our intern from here on out.
But honestly though, so it makes me wonder this as well. So when you watch the rankings, that's one thing. I think I was looking at some of them. The highest ranking I saw was like 22 or like. Don't get me wrong. When you watch NBA playoffs or NFL or any other sports, I might see the Cinderella team who's higher ranked. But if I'm watching a sport and 22 is playing against one, I'm like, how is this a championship? So for me, like maybe we could clean that up a little bit, and then like I'll keep the rest of. Maybe I can come back. You
have some thoughts?
Yeah, for sure.
Last question. What could you run for a 200 right now?
What could I run like today?
Yeah. We go spike up. You get the good spikes on Hayward.
I don't know if my hamstrings would cooperate or my Achilles. So you have to give me like 2 months.
2 months.
And I could run 20.7.
No.
Whoa, that's a big prediction.
Yeah.
Y'all think that's not that's
Mic drop.
20.7.
I ran 20.3 or 4 last year. I'm doing all
Yeah,
right.
you still got it though.
No.
How many years
You
are
like
we
your
from
new job.
Masters stuff now?
I'm already there. I'm 37.
No, yeah, it's 40, right?
No, they changed it.
That's questionable.
Yeah.
I feel like 40 is Masters.
Kyle does not want to be a master.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How old are
trust me,
you?
They changed it.
31.
Yeah,
I'm
man, you're a
master
baby,
now,
man. You still got Similac on your breath.
I like
You good?
That, though, Wallace.
Hey, you've been hanging around him for a long time because you've been using that joke on me all week.
What?
Similac.
Yeah, you got
Because
some.
she
You know
is
Caitlin's
Similac.
19?
She's ageist, and she's about 5, and she thinks I'm old.
21.
So
Thank you.
Can you imagine how
Can you
old
rent
she
a car
thinks you
yet?
are?
No.
Drop the mic.
Okay, I gotta go. Don't get mad at me. I'm very sorry. I'm on my.
No,
This is a
pay
fast
you
attention.
rent a
rent
car
I
for
can
real?
see it.
I don't even know.
No.
You can't.
25.
Yeah.
You know what?
But
I'm gonna shut you all up when I go win the
Decathlon,
NCAA
that's it.
championship next year.
Fine, okay.
That's gonna be just the
Period.
opposite. I think everybody would actually scream.
Yeah.
I think no one would
I
be
don't think I
quiet.
shut up.
I think everyone would cheer for you and be happy for you. I think.
Wallace, thank you so much for
Thank you,
coming on
appreciate it.
Champs
Thank
Chat.
you.
It's well
Appreciate
done.
it.
Stop
Appreciate
by.
it.
We mean to have you all week.
See you never.
We're
Yeah,
gonna
that
have
was
you
my
on
fault.
for a dissection of what you think can be done better at a later time.
We'll have
we
a
can't
press
wait.
Let me learn a little bit and then I got you.
Okay,
Or
2
more.
months.
2 months
200 and the dissection.
on camera.
Nah, that's too much pressure. But I got you. Thanks for having me. I
Alright,
really
yeah.
appreciate it.
Yes.
Wallace,
thank you.
appreciate it.
All right, I'm gonna set the mic down.
Should have dropped it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My best friend.
Would you laugh?
Yeah.
No, never.
I would. You know
So-
I would.
Final thing, right?
We have one more event.
Decathlon.
The most event.
Decathlon, Caitlin.
Oh, the emotion.
I think Caitlin should really talk on, because we know she's Queen Aiden here, but then also
Please.
sitting so close and we got to like see those emotions so close.
the sweat, the
Oh
power.
man, it was a funeral down there. It was a whole bunch of dead bodies. It was a little scary. They came across, drop, and then you have Aiden who's just running up and down the 100-meter straightaway, talking about, yeah, that's me. And I'm like,
Do you think he thought he medaled?
So I asked him. So I was in the mix zone. The last Melly's mix zone report. Cue the theme music. So I interviewed Aiden in the mix zone, and I asked him. I said, like, did you think? Because for those of you who weren't in the stadium, his name popped up third first before they were, got all the results together.
It actually pops up first.
Yeah, well, it was on third for a while on the screen, and I asked him, I was like, did you think you got third? And he said, you know, at first I didn't, but then I thought about it and I was 300 points down. And so I was the one. People were cheering for me. And I was like, there's no way. There's no way. But he had a great line in the mix zone that I think is like doing pretty decent numbers on Twitter right now, where he said, I'm the 4th greatest athlete in the world. And that's the decathlon. Like, he's like, the decathlon needs more respect because that's the event that shows us who's the greatest athlete in the world, which is a hot take, but I also like it.
I mean, you can do everything. I feel like you are the pinnacle of what an athlete is. Like, you don't just run really fast. You don't just throw really far. You don't just jump really far. You do all of those, well, majority of those things really well, because, you know, every multi has their Achilles heel. But it was so much fun, like, seeing how happy he was. Like Jasmine said, we saw his name first. And so everyone in the stadium was like, oh, like, the kid got first. And then his name drops down to 3rd, and we're like, oh, snap. Like,
but then
we might get popped out. And then he gets 4th, and he's still smiling.
He's like, I did it.
He's like, oh, my God. Like, he's praying. Like, he's still running up and down the 100, like, literally smiling. And you would think that he won. But
yes.
I can't wait till he wins.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
And I think he's only like 20. So.
I feel like the storyline along with that, for everyone who was here and got to witness that, the day that he wins, all those fans that sat there and watched all those emotions process through him in that moment is going to make that just so much more sweeter for him.
Yeah.
And us.
I'm a new fan.
So
Same.
Dana,
Aiden fan.
you noticed the team tactics in the decathlon 1500. Do you want to talk about that a little?
Yes. Can you pronounce his last name? That's my
Owen?
Achilles.
Zemek.
Zemek.
Yeah.
So Zemek was, you know, on the border of the position to medal, and Steven Bastian was really helping him out. I think he was acting as his pacer, pulling him through, and you know,
They're both Americans.
both Americans going into the final lap. Bastian looks back and kind of gives him like a "come on, man, like let's do this." Comes to the finish, and you know they're exhausted at that point, but it was a really beautiful moment. And I think, you know, as we lead into the takeaways of these championships, I think for me it was, you know, Wallace said it best. Like, this is the new generation. This is a really young team, and you know, we had Allison Felix come through. Now we have Sonia Richards-Ross in the booth. We have Kara Goucher in the booth. It's like the next generation of athletes who are stepping up and new storylines. And I think that's my overall takeaway, is that I'm just a fan of a lot of really incredible new athletes.
Well, then should we segue into the Hayward Magic moment of the entire championship?
The entire championships? All right.
Are we allowed to double up or no?
Everyone needs
to pick a different one. All right. I'll go first.
I just want to hear everyone's like kind of closing thoughts on the championships too. Like,
all right. Well, this podcast is going a little long, so
Yeah.
Hayward Magic moment of the meet.
Ooh.
Well,
Of the meet?
if we all pick someone different, then I'm gonna go. I'll start us off. I'll take Trevor Bassett off the table.
Wow.
I like Trevor's whole story. I think he's like the type of athlete that we were really hoping that. You know, we started following his story back in January, but championships like this really put him on a platform and on a stage that allows him to become a bigger star beyond this, and you know, hopefully take this, you know, momentum to springboard to not just next year in Budapest, but Paris in 2024. And you know, he's one of those guys who feeds off, you know, the confidence that and the fandom around him, and so pure character. The story about with him and his coach, it's just incredible. How Rye and him tag, it was storybook, I think. So I'm going with Trevor.
I'm going to go with Aaliyah Armstrong, because me and Jasmine had the pleasure of meeting her family on the corner while we were walking back from one of the morning sessions. And I just think her story is absolutely amazing. She had a few setbacks this season, but my awesome, great coach, Coach Green, during SECs, I think is when she cramped up and some issues happened. And he was just like, you know what? God just said it's not yet. Don't worry about it. And she came out here. She had 2 PBs and got 4th. So I am absolutely stunned by her. And then also we share the same Build-A-Bear Stitch. So there's that.
Okay. She's got a stuffed animal Stitch. It's really cute. She carries it everywhere she goes. Mine, I'm going to say my guy who's been in the gym, Michael Norman, bringing home that gold. The reason why is because being on that team with him in 2019 and him getting injured and knowing that he just left immediately after that race, to see him come back and just redeem himself at this World Championship on home turf was absolutely amazing.
So mine's a little outside the box, and it was something I was thinking about when I was writing the newsletter tonight that will go out tomorrow. But, my magic moment is Team USA breaking the record for overall medals won. But when I think about that, what that really represents to me is the diversity that track and field represents. And it's so interesting because the whole time, this whole 10 days, as I've tweeted from CITIUS, we've had sweeps, we've had a lot of great moments for American track and field. And one of the phrases that I've avoided is proud to be an American, because we're in a really difficult, complicated time right now as Americans. There's a lot going on in the world outside Eugene that we're processing right now. But you see Team USA and you have people from all different backgrounds, all different races, queer representation. Arian Knighton's 18 years old. Sarah Hall's 39 years old. You have Abdi Nur coming to America as a kid and representing Team USA internationally. I'm sorry, but it speaks to something so beautiful about our sport. And so it's just so affirming when there's so much to be upset and sad about right now, to see just how much people can achieve. People, no matter where you come from, no matter what you represent or your background or where your values come from, you can have your dreams come true and you can represent your community and your country. And I just feel so cynical sometimes. And coming out of these championships, it just gives me hope for the future and our country and our sport and humanity. And sorry, that's very dark and serious, but it really is true. And it just, we joke I love track and field is the CITIUS motto, but it's it means so much more than track and field. And that's what this experience has really reminded me.
Good luck following that up, guys.
Well, I was about to say,
You go, Dana.
I feel a little bit like my friends who went after Shelly-Ann earlier this morning. But, I think overall we had a really amazing time here at the CITIUS team. I think my takeaway is that the power of track and field comes from diverse voices from this side of things, being able to tell stories, and in the mix zone and all the work that's being done there as well. We are just really fortunate to be here. These are all, new friends that we've made along the way. And a little, back to the humorous side of things. My magic legend. Mine is legend. The big one. You guys didn't see this hilarious mascot in the stadium, but really brought the vibes up. This is a little legend. It's actually going to Leisha, Kyle's little baby that he's been away from all week. So, I think overall we had a great time. We are so grateful for all the support from you guys, and I love track and field.
I'm gonna my performance was gonna be Sydney, obvious. That was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. But I do want to just say we've had so many conversations with people in this sport this week, both between the 35 plus hours that we've been live on YouTube, but also outside of the stadium and just around the house of people stopping by or at the bars or restaurants. And I know we talk a lot about fixing the sport and what can we do better and, growing it and is this good or is that bad? And all I can take away from it is that there are so many people who are diehard, passionate fans that have such great intentions. And maybe sometimes we disagree about the best course of action moving forward, but I have a lot of confidence that there are really, really good intentions from top to bottom and a lot of people who love track and field. And I know that we're really passionate about it. For me personally, I'm inspired by this group, like the amount of work that has been put in for our production and the coverage this week. I'm leaving exhausted, but also hopeful and energized for the future.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, I guess I'll have the final words, right, to close this thing out.
Before you get the final words, can we just say, like, we're all here because of Chris. Like, not to, like, inflate your enormous ego, but,
Chris,
you know,
Chris.
all of this is possible because of Chris's, like, incredible work ethic and incredible vision for the sport and for CITIUS. And, like, you know, if you're in the chat right now and the 6 people still watching, like,
Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
Mac. Let's not forget Mac, the man working behind the scenes.
Yeah.
We love you, Mac.
Hi, Mac.
No, I mean, like, this is 10 days, 12 days, however long we've been out here. Like, it's been a long time. But,
exhausted.
you know,
The champ should be 5 days.
all of the planning that, you know, when I took the leap of faith to do this thing full time in January, everything has been kind of all systems go pointing towards this. Because, you know, in the conversations that Kyle and I have had, it's like we just see this as a tremendous opportunity to continue to push stories, you know, of these athletes forward, you know, to get creative, and this time around, the mission was to present those to everyone in however way people receive their news or whatever it is. So it was, you know, David running the newsletter, but at the same time doubling down on Twitter, and Dana running the Instagram, and Jasmine and Caitlin doing interviews and jumping on the podcast every night. Kyle backing me up in the mix zone, Johnny Zhang and Justin Britton taking photographs, and, you know, Mac kind of also helping us behind the scenes in producing these shows, and you know, Sam also jumping on at one point to produce the shows. Shout out to our 2 like interns from Lane who that, you know, stepped up and were like, we want to just help you guys out around the house. And I'm like, I got some tickets for you. So it was totally a team effort. So yeah, I don't know when the next opportunity we can have like a full scale operation like this is going to be. And so I think like we're just going to try and bottle up all of this, you know, excitement and keep it going, I think. And, you know, people always talk about Hayward magic, but I think the magic goes beyond just being here in Eugene. I think we want to, you know, spread that joy wherever it is that we go. So whether that's Budapest next year, or it's Philly for New Balance Nationals, or for Penn Relays, or wherever it is, like we want to bring you guys this same level of enthusiasm, excitement around the athletes and shared those stories. So I appreciate everyone who has tuned in and watched. Like,
thanks to Tracksmith too.
Yeah, Tracksmith for supporting us and all of our efforts with the storytelling. You guys have just a couple more hours to use promo code WORLDS at checkout. And, you know, yeah, I mean, I can't say thank you enough to everyone. Like, we got stopped by a lot of people in the stadium who said, like, thanks for, you know, the podcast or the YouTube show, or even like the people who came out to our morning runs. Like,
we're the real heroes.
That was it was awesome to not only just like kind of connect community in person, but also like online for the people who couldn't be out here at Hayward Field. And so yeah, we're just gonna do more. I think like it's crazy to think we're only getting started, but we only are getting started, and I'm excited for more. So yeah, I appreciate everyone who's tuned in and listened and watched, and more to come.
We're making this shit up as we go, but it's going all right.
Yeah, I think it's going pretty decently.
Past.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to Champs Chats on the CITIUS MAG podcast. Many thanks to Tracksmith, our sponsor. And I guess the next Champs Chats, maybe like a literal Champs Chats when we go, if we take Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price's offer and go to Jamaica to do one there. But over the next couple weeks on this podcast feed, what you'll see is a lot of the conversations that we had on CITIUS MAG Live being broken out into their own individual podcast episodes, so that you can take them on the go and listen to them at your own time. In that time, I will also be taking a vacation, a much-needed one. So I hope you guys enjoy all of the content we've been throwing your way, and we're going to keep this up. See you guys again soon. I love track and field.